All right, Chad Brindle, Tim Adams here at the new Nippert Stadium. Nice chance for the Bearcats to get back out on the turf here at Nippert. First scrimmage of the summer. I thought the offense started slow, but eventually started to find a rhythm as we got farther into the 3-hour plus scrimmage.
It's a long one, man.
But what were your thoughts overall on how the day went?
Well, I think the first thing was I was impressed with the defense. The first half, the defense dominated the UC offense, the first team. And I think Dave said that the UC first team only had one first down. And if you're a Bearcat fan, I think that's good news, because the biggest worry I had was the defensive line, and they didn't get pushed around at all.
No, they didn't.
I think Alex Pace has been really a good guy in that middle of holding line of scrimmage, and really even pushing and collapsing the pocket twice. He did it in the first half and pushed guys out to Silverberry, where Silverberry basically made the sack. A young guy, Marquise Copeland, takes over for Mark Wilson, who did not practice today, and really looked good. I mean, he gave Parker Anger all he wanted at left tackle, to the point that Parker even jumped offside early in the scrimmage, which is usually an indicator that that tackle is worried about the guy he's over and the speed that he has. So you had Silverberry there, Cortez Broughton. That first group, I just think that's going to be a really good defensive line for Cincinnati. And you know, Zach Edwards is becoming an enforcer.
Yep.
He was a little bit maybe more mouthy than I'd like to see him be. But at 204, 205 pounds, he comes up and he hits people. Down here later in the scrimmage in the red zone, I think was Boone that one time he came flying up. He got Boone, put him on the ground for no gain, but he missed the tackle the next time, and Boone got in the end zone. And you know, that's the thing about a guy like Mike Boone. You got to get him when you have the opportunity, because he can hurt you. Tion Green ran the ball well. Hayden Moore very appropriately hit for a 95-yard touchdown pass in the first half against the twos. We've been seeing him do it all during training camp. So the offense had its moments, but overall, I feel really a lot better about this defense, and it was my biggest concern coming into this thing.
Yeah, I would agree. And the Copeland thing is funny, because you're talking to Coach Prunty before the scrimmage, and he tells you that he's going to go with the ones today.
Yeah.
You're a little surprised.
Yeah.
And then he says he might go with the ones to start the season.
Yeah.
And you're really surprised.
Yeah.
So we were keyed in on him and watching his performance. And you know, in the first 2 series, he made 2 tackles for loss.
He was a difference maker.
Yeah, he was a
legitimate difference maker out there. And the other thing remarkable was, you know, you're always walking that fine line of how much hitting do you do in training camp. And here's a guy, you know, we've seen they haven't tackled anybody. And they come out here, and the tackling was actually very, very good from everybody across the board, linebackers, defensive line, and the defensive backs. But you know, another guy that impressed me today was Grant Coleman.
Yeah,
I thought he did a good job going against
quite
a guy
a few
like
breakups.
Moore. Yeah, running with him and making the plays. We're still haven't really seen Gunnar Keel, and you've been talking about it in other practices. We haven't seen him go vertical a lot.
He did a little bit more in the second half than he has, which was good to see. And ironically enough, when he started attacking a little bit down the field, the first team offense found a rhythm and started going a little bit faster. And he had the one drive where he hit Chris Moore twice.
But not the long ball.
But not like a 45, but more of like the 25, 30-yard variety.
Right.
But at least opening it up a little bit, because a lot of it's been underneath stuff. And I do think you have to give the defensive back some credit on that, because I'm sure he'd like to chuck it deep, but I think that, you know, the corners have done a pretty good job, and the safeties staying over the top of keeping them from, you know, stretching the defense.
We got to see some guys we haven't seen. Jalen Miner got a chance to play finally. He's been slowed from an injury when he got here in the summertime, and then has been slowed by other little nagging injuries and knowing what to do, but he got a chance to play a little bit today. Jamil Kamara, the wide receiver transfer from Virginia, got a chance to play a little bit today.
Peterson did not, right?
Peterson did not. Peterson, they did send him in. I thought he was suited up, but he did not appear. I don't think he's only been. I'm not even sure he could. Yeah, I'm not even sure if NCAA rules will allow him to be actually with contact at this point. But overall, it was a long, and the best thing was no serious injuries.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen Notre Dame
a couple guys were sick.
Yeah, which is understandable.
Yeah,
you can
you're gonna see
live with that.
you're gonna see an ankle twist, or
Yeah.
you know.
You don't want to see anybody going out and they're going to miss the year. Like UCF just lost one of their defensive tackles, and someone told me Notre Dame lost a guy yesterday or whatever. And there were no serious injuries today. There's a number of guys that are nicked up. And that's part of Tommy Tuberville as a veteran coach. You have to know exactly how much hitting to have. And to be honest, you got to hope luck's on your side a little bit too.
And they went for a good time hitting, but then he did call off the dogs towards the back end of practice, and I went more back to the touch on the whistle like at practice. So I think he felt he got enough in, and I think he had to be pleased with, like you said, with the defense's ability to bring guys down. Hayden Moore I wanted to get to real quick on that 97-yarder. One thing that we're noticing with him, and this is probably, once Gunner, either goes to the draft this year if he does, or once he graduates and Hayden Moore takes over, he is excellent with that run pass option. And that's how he got, we talked about the long touchdowns to Johnny Holton yesterday in practice. He got him open on 2 of those, and then today he got Chisholm on one where they're reading the defense, and if the linebacker comes up, that opens up the over the top player. The safety comes up, it opens up over the top, and he's just done a really good job on those.
That was another concern coming into the season, was who would be the backup and how good would he be. We saw Hayden Moore have a good spring, and he's only gotten better here in training camp. And so they've got really young guys behind him, in Luke Wright and Ross Trail. And those guys, you certainly would want to see them to put them out there. But Hayden Moore, a lot of times when you lose a great quarterback, sometimes you have trouble attracting the good quarterback who's ready to step in. I think East Carolina's going to have that problem. But Hayden Moore, whether he's needed next year or this year or the year after, I have high expectations for the kid. Brandon Kay was here today. He said he's coming back to school to get his master's. He's got 2 classes left, and then he's going to hang it up and pursue his life's work, as Paul Brown used to say. But I talked to him a little bit about Hayden Moore, and he really likes him too. He thinks he's got a great arm, and thinks he's going to be a good player again.
One more thing before we go.
Special teams. We got to talk a little bit about special teams, because I thought Sam Geraci booted the ball well.
He punted like last year. The big thing with him was every third kick would shank. There was no consistency off his foot. Every time I watched him today, he had good high hang time, deep kicks, deep punts. It looked a lot better.
He had I was charting him. He had maybe 10 to 12 punts that he had today, and every one of them would have been an adequate hang time, and most of them were between the 40 to maybe 45 to 50 range. I think he maybe had one that was 39 yards, but was nice and high. So it was nice to see a young guy like that start to punt the ball better. Gans was Gans. I've said before, he's not your usual kicker. Some kickers are a little fragile with the psyche. They may talk a good game, but they're down deep inside, they're a little bit skittish. He is not. He's very confident. He kicked the ball well today. I don't think he missed a field goal today. And he did some of those long ones.
Yeah,
55-yarders.
50 and 55
those real long ones. He was a little bit right, but you can't, 55 yards.
The distance was there, and he was, maybe a foot to the right.
Yeah, that's the end. That's a kick that you're going to do at the end of a half or the end of a game where you're in desperate need of getting those points. So I think Ty Linder, I've said before, I think he's going to be a little bit of special team recovery or kick return. It actually looked like there was a scheme, and it was working a little bit. A lot of times our guys seem to just run up and run into a wall, and then they go down. So I thought the special teams looked better. And before we have to talk about
that's what I was going to get to. Before we go, overall impression. We're sitting here with Nippert in front of us, and man, it looks fantastic.
I love this stadium. Always have. The improvements have gotten better and better, but this is the cherry on top of the cake.
Yeah, should we show them?
I think people, you almost have to be here to really appreciate, but it's amazing. Yeah, you look up there, and one of the great things about this, it's first of all, it's huge, and it's going to play some factor in the sun setting over that west side there. But the other thing is, it's all glass. And so many of and if you were at Paul Brown, you lived out in the club level, you had Paul Brown Stadium, where if you went inside, the only way you could see the game was on the TV. That's not going to be the case here. And these are all great quality seats. You look at these club level seats, they're still available. $2,500 a ticket. I still remember when Shoemaker Center open, and I got seats in the second level, like the 6th row of the second level. And I could have always kicked myself that I didn't pay the little bit of extra to get down on the first level of the Shoemaker Center. I totally believe that anybody that doesn't take advantage of these club level seats, at some point, you're going to kick yourself that you aren't up there enjoying that view.
It's spectacular. I mean, it's spectacular. The thing is, you still have the charm of the old stadium. All of that is still here, but you've added this gigantic modern splash to it that kind of brings it, you know, into the new millennium, if you will, for lack of a better term. But it's something. And that nice outdoor patio out there. I've been married 35 years. I'm sitting here thinking maybe I want to renew my vows and have another wedding right up in there, just so I could enjoy Nippert Stadium from right there for an Everybody
afternoon.
at Bearcat Journal's invited, right?
I've seen a few of those guys drink. No.
No, cash bar. Cash bar. You got to go cash bar on those guys. But yeah, first look at it, you know, you walk by all the time going over to basketball and some of the stuff that I do. But
I was just going to say, Brian Coslin, the SID, is sitting right off to the left. Cos, you got anything to add to the whole? Come on over here. Oh, you got anything to add to the Nippert Stadium experience?
Well, I think one thing we're not talking about is this beautiful structure. We've also got to talk about the east and west concourses. Now you're talking about all new bathrooms, all new concession stands, all new concession options, wider concourses, easier access points. You've got the sky bridges on the east side that'll take you from the Game Day Plaza right to your seats if you sit in Hershey Shank Pavilion. So that the days of waiting a quarter and a half for a drink and a bathroom break are over, which is fantastic.
It's just, I haven't seen any of those there because we had to come in through pretty much a dog path or a goat path to get down in here today. But I also like the Paul C over there. Of course, you won't be able to see it during the game, but right now it's a really cool little added thing.
I think the red seat coverings and the gray seat coverings upstairs and the seat in the end zone is going to help the aesthetics on non-game days. So the stadium is always going to look beautiful, especially with a structure like this. I mean, this is. I mean, I've not seen anything like this in college football.
The biggest thing we get is some people insist that this has to be 40,000 seats. Now, I don't know that 39.3 is going to make a difference to anybody, but will there be 40,000 seats still here?
Yeah, 40,000 seats here. There'll be 40,000 seats here, and you better get out and get your tickets now or you're going to miss out.
It's going to be electric in this opener.
Absolutely, I'm excited.
Well, we've kind of been bouncing all around here, but I guess that's everything for today. So Tim Adams, Shed Brendel, the Kaz, my boss, so to speak, or our boss, so to speak. Say goodbye from Nippert.
Have a great day from Nippert Stadium.